Warning, the show contains adult language. Welcome to another edition of Urinated. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. That's what the show's all about, guys. And pardon the background noise, that's my F-350 on my commute here. But today's episode 271, and it's What If Everyone? I started really coming back from my mini retirement. I was gone for a couple of weeks, but just living out in the sticks, way out there in the sticks, and utilizing resources. So today's inspiration came also on my way home. I got really depressed. I was looking at all the trash on the side of the freeway. We were way up north in California, almost to the Oregon-California border, and as we got closer, you just saw how much trash there was laying around. And it was the thought, what if everyone just came and picked up, one trash bag, just filled up one trash bag full of trash on the side of the road, What would happen? When I was on my camping trip, what if everybody went and cut the wood like I did? Now, there's assholes out there that are chopping trees down and stuff like that, these pristine forests and things like that. Just really sucks. But then it dawned on me that all the nutrients of the wood, the dead wood that I went to go after, was in the dried up gullies, in the riverbeds. But that wood goes somewhere. I think there's a certain percentage that may go to the ocean or whatever, but there's a lot of that wood, I think, that breaks down. It's the natural ecosystem. And I really didn't hurt a lot. I only took what I needed, maybe a little bit extra, but it dawned on me, what if everybody did what I did? There'd be absolutely no wood. There's people coming in probably, I think, from spring all the way to fall, and they're just if everybody just came in and started taking up all these pieces, there'd be nothing left for other people, but more importantly, there'd be nothing left for the forest. And it's very important, all the little twigs and branches and even the leaves that fall, they create mulch in the forest. There's an underground lake, if you would. You can take a pile of mulch, even in some of the driest conditions, and get a couple of drops of water out in the shade. There's this hidden barrier of moisture, and that's what helps the roots and everything to survive as well, so the sun doesn't bake everything up. So really, nature knows what it's doing, and we shouldn't disturb it. And taking large pieces of wood, these are woods that decompose, that the mushrooms use to house themselves, right, to feed on. It also creates the humus and everything for the soil, and just does a lot of good stuff. So it's a negative. What if we all did that, took wood from the forest? I think we should all start bringing our wood when we camp. Unfortunately for me, when I go for 10, 14 days, I don't really have enough wood to bring for 14 days, But bring what you can, do what you can, because if everybody did it, the forest would start to deplete. So I hope you guys, I don't know, I'd like to do a series of these. I'd like to know what you guys think. Put your comments down below. Let me know about what if everyone's. So I got a whole bunch of different stuff here. Let's go on to the next one, which is, if everyone urinated, if everybody urinated in the same camping area, somebody I know wearing a red shirt, glasses on their head, maybe had a couple too many beers, at nighttime, have to take a big old long piss, and you just get up and piss right where your campsite is, right? You're not going to go wandering off. But what if everybody did that? It's fucking disgusting. And when you go to these small little places, these campsites and stuff, people are urinating all over the place. I can't believe it. It doesn't stink, right? It's just nasty. So what if we all started peeing like that? It's not good for the nature. It's not good for camping and all that kind of stuff. It's just very disgusting. What I do when I'm camping out in the sticks is I use a 2-gallon bucket. We all urinate. We have to go pee. We go pee in there. Urine is clean, by the way. You can literally drink it within 24 hours, even if it's in the desert, if it's hot. It's actually sterile. You could use it for cleaning wounds and stuff, but once it dries up, it turns to ammonia and it gets very stinky, and I think you can get sick. But if you're camping by a river, or by a lake, I think, or by the ocean like I was, urinate in your bucket, and then every morning go out in the woods and dump it here and there. It actually helps give nitrogen to the plants, and then take it down to the river and wash it out. I use biodegradable disinfectant. I actually make my own. Consists of like hydrogen peroxide, 100% vodka, distilled white vinegar, some essential oils such as tea tree oil, lemon oil is probably my biggest one, some water. You can make your own concoction. And I use that to spray it out every day just to stay clean and sanitary. But I think that's a better way than just urinating out. If you happen to have too many bottles of wine, oh, I'm sorry, Russians do that. If you're Russian, I feel sorry for you. But if you drank too many glasses of wine, or beer, and you can just take that bucket and pee in that bucket instead of making it disgusting for other people. Take that bucket in the morning, put a lid on it, and go dump it down the toilet if you're over at a regular campsite, right? If you have an emergency, if you have a bird bladder. So next, what if everybody fenced off the land to live, the farmland and everything? Well, guess what? They have. I'm driving right now in the country back to my house, and everything's fenced off. We've blocked out nature because it's become an inconvenience, and it's very sad. A lot of deer, bear, animals, most of the prime lands have been fenced off, and they have no place, they have no room, even down to the insects and stuff. They're being sprayed and things like that, and I'm guilty of that as well. In my gardening systems, my food production, I'm actually devising a new way where I completely net off the entire area from bugs, from everything. But you know what, I have to eat too, but I look at this as my small little area. I don't have to kill anything. Nothing can get in. It's just no. You're completely blocked out, right? You're 86th. There's plenty of other stuff out there in the woods and nature which survives around me for them to go live in and eat and stuff. Although I love that my frogs and stuff are living in my garden and netting it off, they won't be able to get back in anymore. But what if everybody fenced everything completely off, right? There'd be no land for all of us to enjoy. What if we use the 10% factor? And this is something, I'm not sure in permaculture, but I know that there's a really cool guy named Jim Merkel, was a engineer for the U.S. Army, and also for, he's like one of those guys that went to clean up the Valdez oil spill. And after that, he just said, fuck this, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Lives very simple, and one of his ideas is to leave about at least 10% of your garden or your yard feral. Just leave it, let it go. Just like we said in the woods, don't pick any of the leaves up or anything like that. And in fact, I met a woman who had monarch butterflies, and she was infested with them in a good way. And that's one thing she told me, do not touch anything underneath those bushes over there. There was like a foot of mulch. And what happens is, I guess they hibernate, or they lay their babies, their eggs or whatever, I don't know. And she says she gets millions of butterflies growing. So something very beautiful, right? And it's a shame what we've done, fencing everything off and just kind of screwing things up. It doesn't have to be that, especially with permaculture, natural farming. There's people doing stuff with absolutely no fences. In fact, they invite the deer to come in, eat the apples as high as they can reach, right? Because when the rain comes, it splashes spores, and spores only fly up around 5 to 6 feet up in the air, and it doesn't get on the apple leaves, right? The deer and the elk and everything will prune, or cows, they'll prune the apple trees for you, right? It's little techniques like that. So what if everybody planted insect attracting flowers and things like that? That's what I've done. I've done edibles, marigolds, lemon gem and tangerine gem marigolds. My mint, my peppermint has been blooming lately, and the bees are just loving on it. And what I never knew is that I think there's 52 different species of wild bees, native bees. Honeybees really, they were introduced to the United States. They don't even really, they belong here now. They've acclimated for sure, but they were never here. And we have these little tiny bees that look like wasps, and they live some of them live in the ground. They're solitary, and they come over and they start eating, the nectar. But what if everybody, instead of planting, plant your cute little flowers that look pretty that have no fucking purpose, but maybe plant some stuff that, at least a little bit, like we said, 10% of that for the butterflies and the bees and the wasps and the hummingbirds and all that kind of stuff, And then what would happen if we did that? Imagine like the city of San Diego, where you have the little cookie cutter backyards, right? But everybody did 10% of that. There would be a home for these insects to come, and they would actually help you with your little gardens that you have. And yeah, it would just be beautiful. What if people made little bat boxes and stuff like that? Bats eat mosquitoes and things, guys. If everybody just built one bat box, can you imagine? Until they get fucking territorial and start killing each other because they probably have a perimeter. I have no idea. All I know is a lot of nature that I've observed, like, they just fight, man. You're like, look at the beautiful nature. We've made a home for you. And then they're like, you fucking motherfucker, I have a 100-foot perimeter and you're in my space, right? And they start killing each other. Yeah, look at them, they're playing. Oh shit, he played too hard, ripped the other one's head off. Anyways, I'm going to park for a minute so we drop some of this noise. But what if the next one? What if everybody stopped buying unsustainable products for a day, 2 days, 3 days? Did you know that we all vote with our dollars? You know, all of the shit that we look at, the politicians and the man upstairs and the system and the government is all reliant upon us. I'm probably going to get in trouble, and I'm waiting for at least the YouTube channel to get knocked out. That's why I'm kind of not taking the YouTube too serious, but we'll post when we can. But what if what if everybody just stopped buying shit? You know, what if you started buying sustainable things? In fact, I think that's what's happened is we have a lot more people interested in organics, and I've heard it a lot at Home Depot and around, and just the products that started to show up about, I don't know, about 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And I remember it was really hard. Back in my day, I'd go to buy stuff that was like carrots, apples, and a cucumber, and maybe some oranges. That's it. Now there's a wider selection. So I think that's really cool that people voted with their dollars. We're starting to see Miracle Grow company start to formulate organic Miracle Grow fertilizers, organic potting soils and things like that. So because we vote with our dollar, we are very powerful. And if we wanted to shut shit down, we just stop buying gas, everything for just a few days. Watch everything, like the supply chain. I've explained this to you guys how in previous podcasts or shows, how it trickles down the line, right? The feed, the grain, like for animals, is the very, very first thing. The supply chain gets disrupted there. Well, guess what? They're stopped bringing grain in, so they can't really feed the cows anymore as the cows get shipped off to the slaughterhouse to get processed. From the process place to get the meat packaging company, from the meat packaging company to the grocery store. That it's not like you could just flip a switch and everything just turns on like a motor. There's many, many moving parts. So if a lot of us just stocked up on stuff, and just said, we're going on strike globally, we could bring down the fucking systems. And that's a pretty harsh one there, A lot of bad things I think could possibly happen. But if we want to change, that's really the way we can make some crazy change. Or we can make simple, peaceful changes by purchasing. Here's an awesome thing about money. People go where the money's treated well. So if everybody was buying a certain product and the money was all flooding towards that area, the corporations and stuff are going to look at that and go, that's interesting. I'm going to start buying stocks in that, right? So just like the reverse of the supply chain disruption or causing harm, we all start voting with our dollar on this particular thing. That's what investors, that's what people who are producers making things, they're all going to start going where the money goes. Every business, every smart person who wants to make money, you look where the popularity, where all the attention is. That's where all the money's going to be. That's why, like, for instance, a LeBron James or something. I don't really watch, I'm pretty sure it's basketball. It's basketball for sure. But he's popular. He's a really good athlete. Sponsors want to fucking sponsor him. They want them to wear his shirts because people are going to want to be LeBron James. He's on talk shows and stuff like that. And there's merch and merchandise and all these kind of things. All this attention. And people are they love him. They love others. So all that attention goes someplace. And if we all voted with our dollar to make a difference in the world, imagine the power that could happen. What if everyone is a really, really big fucking question and a beautiful possible outcome that could happen. So I got to cut this show short, guys. I'm at work. I'm working on shit to get to work. I'm working on getting to work. Okay, I'm going to get my lazy ass. I'm hoping by October. But yeah, guys, that's the show. You know what to do. Everything's down below. So as I always say, go out there and have yourself a near life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.